friendly nation on the floor of this house. I will not do that. But my point was, Honorable Speaker, back to my point, that as a responsible country, should we or should we not have isolation centers? Because this disease, we can't run away from the fact that it is there, and it is there in our neighborhood, in this region. Therefore, the question that I wanted the CS to clarify, yes, and I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, deliberately in a leading manner, so that the CS clarifies for us and for the nation, this isolation center, from what I read in his statement, you know, Honorable Speaker, the problem is that members don't listen, like the member for Aldai is making noise and distracting me. And that is why maybe we may have missed some of the issues the CS has said. Because my understanding, and that is the clarification I sought, was that this isolation center is for preparedness, even to cater for Kenyans who may catch the disease, whether it is a staff of KCB, Equity Bank, or one of our armed officers who are working in DRC. Should they catch the disease, for instance, the military, the natural thing would be, if I was the commander-in-chief or the CDF, airlift.
The Vodo free tethered shooting tools, anytime, anywhere. Effortlessly connect your iPad wirelessly. Seamless tethering. Instant retouching. Boost your business with same-day edits.
Facility at the Busia border, because I have read about the laboratory testing there. Maybe amongst the 23, the CS should also clarify, where are these other 23 centers to be established? Do we have them around the border with Uganda and where the trucks are passing, both legal and the illegal crossings? Because I see in the statement he's spoken about the legal crossings. But there are also illegal border points. What are we doing? Lastly, CS, on your preparedness, you have spoken about the contact tracing. We're at about 100%, 87% on laboratory readiness, rapid response teams at 90%, infection prevention and control at 56%. But you have also told us that we have kits for the first 200 suspected cases. And that is where preparedness comes in, Honorable Speaker, and I hope the CS can tell us, have you then prepared? Because I've also seen your request. You are saying the first 100 cases will cost about 2.686 billion. Is this money already provided for in the budget? Or should we, as we go to the budget process, now factor additional resources for this preparedness for Ebola? Because the first 200, if we learned anything from COVID, to get from 0 to 1,000 cases would take less than 3-4 weeks. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I will just seek those clarifications. And Honorable Speaker, let me just close by saying this. Ebola is a dangerous disease from what we have seen. But as a country, we must be prepared. And those isolation centers ought to be there, but they cannot be exclusively for others to use without Kenyans. And I think that's the very critical clarification. Because, Honorable Speaker, you know, in closing, this country, as Michael Joseph once told us, we have peculiar habits. Now, as politicians, many of us are very good experts in Ebola. And many Kenyans, almost all Kenyans, are experts in Ebola. Let us hear from the experts, including the doctors here.
Waziri, let him respond to those. But before that, Minister, allow me to acknowledge your children. children, students in the gallery from Starehe, Nairobi. Gijiwe Methodist Fellowship from South Imenti, Meru. And Githurai Mixed School, Ruiru, Kiambu. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students, their teachers, and those accompanying them to Parliament. Minister, you can proceed to respond. Thereafter, we'll take another round, which will be the last one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am ready to answer the valid questions by our honorable members, my colleagues. But Honorable Speaker, we are dealing with a very abnormal situation. And I want the House to look at the Public Health Act, Section 35 and Section 36. That mandates the Ministry of Health to take all the necessary action to protect and safeguard the safety of our citizens, our visitors, and all those who live within the borders of our country from any of the infectious diseases. To my sister, Honorable Sarah Koreri, but before even Honorable Speaker answer that question, first I think for information, we have 12 counties which are very high risk. These counties are Nairobi, Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Kisumu, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, Turkana, Homa Bay, and Migori. And this is because of the air, the road, transport, and the northern corridor. Then we have got high risk. The first one was very high risk. The high risk counties are 13. These are Vihiga, Kakamega, Nakuru, Kericho, Nandi, Kiambu, Machakos, Makueni, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Isiolo, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Garissa. Honorable Speaker, again, for the information of the House, as of today, we have designated, verified, 3 major hospitals as treatment centers. Kenyatta National Hospital, the Kenya National Police Hospital, MTRH in Eldoret. Secondly, we have also identified that we are in the process of completing the isolation, the treatment center of 2 hospitals in Busia. And I want to urge my sister, Mary Emase, even before COVID, the people of Busia and the country as a large, under the Ministry of Health, agreed that Alupe Hospital, a research center, is one of the very few infectious research hospitals. So in terms of qualification, that hospital is the most qualified because it's a research and infectious. Where have we done that? So in Busia, we have Alupe Sub-County Hospital, Referral Hospital, and we have Kocholie Sub-County Hospital. The reason why we picked on those 2, you know, that is where the biggest crossing.
For the record, it's called Kocholia, not
Kocholia. Kocholia. That is where the epicenter in terms of crossing from either DRC, our tracks, and the movement are. But we are doing assessment of these sites in the following counties. And Honorable Speaker, under the Public Health Act, we don't need to do public participation. We are not going to consult citizens. Even members of parliament here, when they fall sick, they rush to their doctor to make sure they get the best treatment. So this epidemic does not require any consultation. Tomorrow, God forbid, if Ebola is found in this country, this House will call me back here to this chair to ask me why are Kenyans dying. So before Kenyans die, before Kenyans are infected, we as a government have a moral, constitutional responsibility to protect both Kenyans and other people who are non-Kenyans who live within our border or who transit within our country. Honorable Speaker, on Laikipia Air Base is one of the 23 quarantine isolation center we are building. And we will not stop it. Why we are building? We are building in the airbase, far from even, and there are a number of reasons why. The runway in Laikipia is one of the longest runway. That is where we have KDF medical team. That is why even our 450 Kenyans who are serving today under the UN, our special forces, the quick response unit. I'm the speaker, I was the Minister for Defense. I went to Ituri. I know all those areas. Those who have gone to Lumumbashi. Kenyans, the biggest hospitals in DRC are run by Kenyans, are owned by Kenyans. So we must protect, Mr. Speaker. So Laikipia will protect both Kenyans and the US. Honorable Speaker, when we had the COVID, and some of us were members of, where will the Kenyans who will be infected, God forbid, go? I mean, as a leader, I don't think that way we can be responsible. And I agree with you, Madam Zamzam. Semen is part of the fluid. You are right. You are right. I saw people laughing at her. Body fluids. When we talk of body fluids, there are different types. Semen is one of the body fluids. So Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, I really want to urge you, my very good friend, if we say every county refuses, then where are we going to treat Kenyans? Are we going to treat them up in the air? We as a government have a responsibility. We can still even create another isolation center in one of our barracks in any part of the country. If today it was in Mordecai in Garissa, in Isiolo, so it will treat both Kenyans and foreigners. And please, let us not politicize it. The document that we signed, and it was